Now, nearly 200,000 people have backed an online campaign calling for cannabis to be legalised. Now, the reason that's significant is because it means MPs will now have to debate the issue. Let's talk to Peter Reynolds from CLEAR, the Cannabis Law Reform Group. I mean, you must be quite pleased at this, but doubtful, I would have thought, that you're actually going to get this through the House.
I think
change in the law. I
think it's very doubtful. I mean, I think the government and many MPs will fight tooth and nail, probably even to stop this being debated. I mean, you know, let's be clear, since the Misuse of Drugs Act came in 1971, there has not really been a proper debate on anything to do with drugs policy in the House of Commons. There was one last year briefly, but, you know, there was a derisory number of, I think, 20 MPs turned up to it. And, you know, the reality is that the British people have been systematically misled, misinformed and deceived about cannabis since 1971, both by governments and, I have to say, by the media, which much prefers the sensationalist, scaremongering stories about cannabis, when in fact there's a very positive story to tell about cannabis.
Well, we know that, yeah, with cannabinoids that can be beneficial in a health term and for some pain relief and what have you. But I mean, that's very different from using the drug itself, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is, yeah, but I mean, I mean, you raise that issue. I mean, the medicinal use of cannabis is frankly the thing that concerns me most.
Why?
And, well, because it offers tremendous benefits. I mean, I work with people every day who suffer from some of the most dreadful medical conditions, are in pain, constant pain and suffering, and all they're offered by the conventional medicine, if you like, are opiates and opioids, which are terribly debilitating, turn them into zombies, cut them off from their families. And I see these people with my own eyes. They use a small amount of cannabis, and it allows them to lead a normal, productive life. It's transformational, literally transformational.
Some people would say that cannabis can turn people into zombies, especially the very powerful forms we're getting these days, like skunk, and that's been blamed for a lot of psychotic disorders, if you like.
Well, it's largely a myth. I mean, you know, it's largely a myth, it really is. Listen to my words. And if you look at the actual facts and evidence about it, cannabis psychosis, many psychiatrists don't even believe such a condition exists. You know, we had a question in the House of Commons, I think about 3 months ago now, where Charles Walker, who's one of the most virulent anti-cannabis MPs, asked the Minister to explain how many cases of cannabis psychosis there are in young people. And he didn't like the answer, because the answer is there's been an average of just 28 each year for the past 5 years.
But we all know, I mean, I'm sure, at a certain age, you know, obviously it's been around more prevalently, you know, for anyone under sort of 45, really. And we've all come across people who have smoked cannabis for a long time, who, I mean, to coin the phrase, appear dopey.
Of course we have, yeah.
Dopey in a, you know, in a.
Of course we have.
You know.
We have white cider drinkers. You know,
yes, but isn't that the long-term effect? If people are just in that, you know, what appears to be a permanently dopey state.
Well, I mean, there are some people who are in a permanently drunk state. I mean, we don't base policy on alcohol on the way that a very small number of people abuse it. Now, why do we base policy on cannabis on the way that a very small number of people have a problem with it?
I suppose the fear is if you legalise it, then more people become dopey, as Stephen puts it.
That's the fear, and that's the knee-jerk reaction. But if you look at the evidence, and the trouble is we don't look at the evidence in this country. You know, we don't look at the evidence. MPs don't look at the evidence. They're transfixed by fear of what the media is going to say, that they're soft on drugs. If you look at the evidence, there are very, very few people experiencing those sort of problems. As I say, an average of just 28 people each year for the last 5 years actually treated for cannabis psychosis. Now, each one of those 28 cases is a tragedy. I'm not trying to take away from that. Yeah. But in public health terms, it's irrelevant. You know, and what I'm arguing for is more control over cannabis. Banning, prohibition, is the most dumb, stupid, ignorant policy you can possibly implement. The only rational solution to this is to regulate it responsibly in accordance with evidence.
Well, look, I wish we had more time to talk about it, Peter. Sadly, we don't, but as this, I think, will be debated in the House at some point. It'd be interesting to discuss it further and see if anyone turns up for that debate. Well, Peter, good to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Keep your thoughts coming through on that one, actually. At Sky Stephen, at Jeanette Jalil on Twitter. Stay with us, though. Lots more still to come.